Hello, my wonderful Coldplay friends. I have just heard so many rumors talking about the future of Coldplay, more specifically the albums that they will release in the future, and I kind of just wanted to combine all those rumors into one in this video and kind of just discuss them. And of course, if you have any input, you have any ideas what you think might happen in the next few years with Coldplay, definitely comment below. And while you're there, definitely subscribe too if you haven't yet. That is the absolute best way to help me out. And of course, I'm going to be putting out content related to Coldplay from now until forever. So thank you again for subbing in advance, and let's just kind of dive into this. So I wanted to just start things off by talking about what we heard from Chris right before the release. It was said that he mentioned that the band will only have 12 albums. So Music of the Spheres, which was just released, is the 9th album, which would mean that there will be 3 more albums left, number 10, 11, and 12. So you may have heard that Music of the Spheres is possibly part of a 3-part series. So Music of the Spheres Volume 1, 2, and 3. And if that's the case, we would have Music of the Spheres Volume 2 as number 10, Music of the Spheres Volume 3 as Volume 11, and then a final album. So I also wanted to kind of just read this quote real quick, kind of just to talk about this more in depth of what we heard. So this is from Chris. He said, "I think that in a few albums' time, we will finish making albums." And he continued, "I think after 12, that will be the end of our catalog. But I think we'll always want to play live together, so I think in a way that the Stones do. It will be so cool if we could still be touring in our late 70s. That will be wonderful if anyone wants to come." Of course, we will want to come to those still. And just to kind of continue with this, here is a tweet that I saw recently from Coldplay Extra. This is also a quote from Chris, "We'll make 3 more albums, so 2 more, and then we'll finish our final album called just Coldplay." And that's the plan. 3 more albums to go. So we've heard this in a few different places that they just want to make 3 more albums and have a 12 album catalog, and that'll be it, with their final album called Coldplay. Now, let's just talk about this a little bit more, because this totally makes sense in the timeline of having them have the last album called Coldplay, but then also having Music of the Spheres Volume 1, 2, and 3, and then Coldplay. Like, that kind of just makes sense. They almost have this already laid out. So I also just wanted to speak from a point of view that this is talking about albums and not necessarily, like, they never said, we are never going to make music again after our 12th album. You know, so I just wanted to put that into perspective, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later on in this video. But it seems, you know, since we've heard this repeated a few different times, that this is a pretty likely outcome, that there are only 12 albums in Coldplay's catalog. So I also now just wanted to go back into that booklet that we saw from Everyday Life. So as you've probably seen, it kind of resurfaced now that the album is out, that Music of the Spheres was already announced back in the catalog for Everyday Life. It was the first time we saw the letters Music of the Spheres, and then also that symbol there. And, you know, it's kind of funny because we've been talking about this since that booklet came out, since the first person kind of pointed that out. They were like, wait, could this be a new album? And all the rumors kind of just went around with that, and of course that came true. Music of the Spheres was the next album. But the thing that I wanted to point out in that booklet is, if you look on the car right in front of that sign, on the license plate, it very specifically and clearly says FFTF 2024. So, way back when we were speculating about Music of the Spheres, we were thinking, okay, is 2024 a year? And if so, do we have to wait 5 years for the next album? Because Everyday Life was released in 2019, so it would be 5 years until the next album. Of course, we didn't have to wait that long because Music of the Spheres came out in 2021. But You know, we're thinking maybe this was a date, you know, I don't know. There were so many things going around with that. And recently, with this news about these next 3 albums, this is kind of resurfacing and kind of making a little bit more sense. And it was recently brought to my attention about this rumor about what FFTF stood for. Now, there were so many people questioning what that was and so many different ideas, but this one kind of struck me that kind of made sense. And it was recently brought to my attention by Ethan, who goes by EJR6309 on YouTube, so check him out. But the recent understanding of what that could stand for, FFTF could be Finale for the Fans. Now, the reason why I think this makes sense in this timeline is if we have Music of the Spheres Volume 2 in 2022, Music of the Spheres Volume 3 in 2023, and Finale for the Fans, Coldplay, released in 2024. I think that would make a lot of sense. Now, just thinking about that, that's 3 albums released in the next 3 years. That's popping out super quick. So logistically, I don't know how much sense it makes. I mean, Coldplay would really have to grind out these albums. I'm sure they have kind of a catalog already ready for them. So it does make sense, you know? But the only other thing that I could think of is that maybe FFTF doesn't mean Finale for the Friends. Maybe it's just the title of the next album. So maybe the next album is coming out in 2024 and they're gonna spread it out a little farther. So it's not necessarily true that the next album will be called Music of the Spheres Volume 2 or anything like that. That's kind of just been speculation. So that could be the title of the next album. But yeah, I don't know, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think it's probably more realistic that they actually do follow that timeline and have 3 albums in the next 3 years, because I mean, this is Coldplay, they can do anything they want. They can really pop this out. However, thinking about that, if the final album was released in 2024, that being only 3 years away makes me really kind of sad, because I don't want that to be the last album being released then. That would just be kind of devastating. But kind of just to continue on with this conversation, because, you know, we can kind of talk about what might happen on those albums. I think between Music of the Spheres Volume 2 and 3, we're probably going to get The Race. I think it's been a long time coming. A lot of people thought it would be on this album, Music of the Spheres Volume 1. And Phil Harvey knows that this has been really sought after. People really want to hear this song. And he even said recently, I know that there's a cult following for The Race, and I promise you it will be released soon. And he said he doesn't even know if it's finished yet. So they obviously have been working on it, and they obviously want it to be released. But Coldplay is very specific about their timing with things, so it makes sense that they're kind of just waiting on it for it to be released. Maybe they want people to get, you know, even more hype for it, kind of build up that suspense for its final release, finally. Hopefully it wouldn't be released on the last album, Coldplay, because that's way too long to wait. So hopefully we'll see that on Music of the Spheres Volume 1 or 2. And the other thing that I think we can expect from Music of the Spheres Volume 2 or 3, that's what I meant to say, is Aurora. Now, this is a planet that was the missing planet, which was first brought up, I think, in July. Yeah, I think it was July. It was like right after Coloratura was released, I believe. Or right around that time. Anyway, Phil mentioned that in a tweet. He's like, have you guys seen the missing planet Aurora? So I think there's probably a single or something related to that planet, and my guess is that it would be the next single is like announcing the next album. So it's kind of weird that he mentioned it though, like before the release of the Music of the Spheres Volume 1. So I don't know what's going on with that. A lot of people are saying, okay, maybe this is related to The Race. Not sure about that, but I definitely think we can expect to hear from that soon. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that there was a quote from something basically implying that there's kind of a whole backstory with this planet, and it has to do with kind of some kind of revolution so that it can be included in the spheres. So we're probably going to get that pretty soon. But yeah, as far as Coldplay, the final album, I think that what we can expect from this album is just a whole bunch of unreleased songs. They have a huge catalog of music of songs that have not been released that people really enjoy. So like I was saying, it's possible that the race could be on this. There have been some of my favorites that I've heard of, Ladder to the Sun, Wedding Bells, Aiko, which gives a very Music of the Spheres kind of vibe, so maybe that's related to Music of the Spheres albums, I don't know. And then Don Quixote. So there's just a lot of songs that are unreleased that Coldplay knows the fans really enjoy. So if this is finale for the fans, it would make sense that we hear a lot of unreleased songs, you know, songs that they've played live or songs that they kind of were played during a Instagram show or something like that. Or it's possible that we see kind of remakes of some other classics. I think that would be kind of a nice touch to combine those kind of things. And we already did see this with Music of the Spheres. We already saw them take from older songs, like, what is it? People of the Pride took from The Man Who Swears. What was it? Infinity Sign. Yeah, Infinity Sign was from that other song that's escaping my mind right now. But they've been known to kind of write songs and release them when they're ready, is what they say. So maybe their final album will be their last chance to kind of release these. I think that'd be kind of a nice touch. Now, the very last thing that I wanted to talk about in this video is that they didn't say, when they were saying, okay, yeah, we're releasing 12 albums, that's it. They didn't say, we're never going to write music again, right? They didn't say, we're never going to release a single again. We're never going to release an EP again. They just said no more albums. So to me, what this is saying is Coldplay just doesn't want to have these huge shows. Okay, so with Music of the Spheres, it was a huge announcement. They had Higher Power, they had Coloratura, they had My Universe, big singles released for this. They had so many appearances on shows and all these different performances in these cool places, right? They are probably, in my opinion, just saying, you know what, we're done with these huge albums. We kind of just want to focus on our fans, kind of want to just focus on performing live and getting that to a place where we are comfortable performing live and just play music for music's sake, have fun, enjoy life, because life is for living. So I think that we can definitely expect Coldplay to continue writing music. I don't think this is the end of Coldplay music. I think they'll be writing to the end of days. So, and just kind of just from a songwriter perspective, because I write music with my band, I couldn't imagine a life without writing music, and it's not something you kind of just stop doing, you know, when you get old. I think as you get older, the more sentimental you get and the more you want to write. So I don't think it makes sense for Coldplay to completely stop writing. But that's just my 2 cents on this whole thing. So of course, thank you so much for watching. And if you made it this far, that means that you kind of enjoy my content. So definitely make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you have any comments and anything I said in this video, definitely let me know in the comments as well. I think there are just a lot of rumors going around, and I know I didn't touch on all of them, but I just kind of wanted to bring to surface all the ones that I think were important. But thanks again so much for watching. Of course, I'll see you again in the next video. Till then, peace.